Welcome adventurers to the rolling fields and dark secrets of Hillsbrad Foothills. In this video, we're diving deep into the lore of this iconic zone from World of Warcraft. From the escalating tensions between the Alliance and the Horde, to the haunted legacy of Southshore and Tarren Mill, Hillsbrad is more than just a battleground. It's a land steeped in history, tragedy, and untold stories. Grab your Hearthstone, and let's explore the rich lore of Hillsbrad Foothills together. History. Hillsbrad, often referred to as Hillsbrad Foothills, stands as one of the most paradoxical regions in Azeroth. Its rolling green hills, serene meadows, and quaint pastoral charm hide a history drenched in bloodshed, earning it a reputation as the continent's most battle-scarred territory. This combination of tranquil beauty and violent legacy is a defining characteristic, woven into the fabric of its diverse landscapes and the tumultuous fates of the kingdoms that once claimed it. In the southwestern corner of Hillsbrad lies Azure Lode Mine, a site with roots stretching back to a time before the Greymane Wall severed ties between regions. This area was originally part of Gilneas, the reclusive human kingdom known for its fierce independence. The construction of the Greymane Wall, a massive barrier erected by King Jen Greymane to isolate his people from the chaos of the Second War and subsequent conflicts, redefining the borders, leaving Azure Lode and its surroundings to be absorbed into the broader Hillsbrad region. The mine itself, rich with resources, has often been a point of contention, its tunnels echoing with the clash and steel of those vying for control. The central expanse of Hillsbrad, with its fertile fields and scattered farmlands, was historically a vital part of the Kingdom of Lordaeron. Records suggest this affiliation dates back to at least 19 BDP, before the Dark Portal, a time when Lordaeron stood as a beacon of human civilization in the Eastern Kingdoms. This region flourished under Lordaeron's rule, its plains feeding the kingdom's armies and its people living in relative peace, until the Scourge's rise shattered the stability. The fall of Lordaeron during the Third War left Hillsbrad vulnerable, and its central lands became a contested battleground between the remnants of humanity, the Forsaken, and other factions seeking dominance. The once prosperous town of Hillsbrad Fields, now a charred ruin, stands as a grim testament to this era of unrelenting conflict. To the north, the terrain rises sharply into the frigid Alterac Mountains, a stark contrast to the gentler foothills below. This rugged region harbors the remnants of the fallen kingdom of Alterac, whose city lies in ruins after its ruler, Lord Paranold, betrayed the Alliance during the Second War. The shattered husk of Altar Antoniac has also been overrun by a tribe of ogres, their crude encampments sprawling amidst the crumbling spires. These mountains also bore witness to another cataclysmic event, the destruction of Dalaran, the floating city of mages. During the Third War, the demon lord Archimond, wielding unimaginable power, razed Dalaran to the ground in a devastating assault that marked one of the conflict's darkest chapters. Though the Kirin Tor later rebuilt their city and raised it into the sky once more, the scars of the annihilation linger in the Alterac peaks, a reminder of the fragility of even the mightiest strongholds. Second War. Following their devastating defeat in the First War, the people of Stormwind faced an existential crisis. Their once proud kingdom had fallen to the relentless onslaught of the Orcish Horde, its capital razed and its survivors scattered. Driven by desperation, these displaced citizens embarked on a monumental exodus across the Great Sea, their ships laden with the remnants of a broken nation. Their destination was the northern continent of Lordaeron, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. Led by figures such as Anduin Lothorpe, this grand migration marked a turning point, not only for Stormwind's refugees, but for the fate of the Eastern Kingdoms as a whole. Upon reaching the shores of Lordaeron, the wary exiles found refuge near the coastal town of Southshore, a modest settlement nestled along the shores of Hillsbrad Foothills. These landless refugees, stripped of their homes but not of their resolve, pledged their unwavering loyalty to the nascent alliance of Lordaeron, a coalition forged to counter the growing threat of the Horde. In gratitude and necessity, they committed their remaining forces to the region, bolstering defenses and establishing a foothold in preparation for the inevitable counteroffensive. Southshore became a bustling hub of activity, its docks and streets alive with the clamor of soldiers and the determination of a people rebuilding their future. As the Second War loomed, the tranquility of Hillsbrad's coastlines was shattered by the arrival of Orcish marauders. These brutal raiders, emboldened by their victories in the south, launched a campaign of terror against the coastal towns, pillaging and burning as they went. The newly formed Alliance of Lordaeron responded swiftly, establishing a network of outposts across the region to serve as early warning systems and staging grounds. These fortifications, manned by a mix of human militia, Stormwind veterans, and Lordaeron's own troops, stood as a first line of defense against the encroaching horde, their banners fluttering defiantly in the salty sea breeze. When the Second War erupted in earnest, the Hillsbrad Foothills became a crucible of conflict, its fields and forests bearing witness to a series of pivotal skirmishes. The Horde, bolstered by their forest troll allies from Zul'Aman, clashed repeatedly with the Alliance forces, which included not only humans, but also the graceful and deadly High Elves of Quel'Thalas. These battles were fierce and chaotic, marked by ambushes in the dense woodlands and brutal sieges against fortified settlements. The towns of Hillsbrad, Southshore, and Tarren Mill, once peaceful hamlets, found themselves thrust onto the front lines. Hillsbrad's farmsteads were torched, Southshore's docks became battlegrounds, and Tarren Mill endured relentless assaults as the Horde sought to break the Alliance's resolve. One of the war's most dramatic episodes unfolded at Stronghold Keep, a formidable fortress in eastern Hillsbrad. The keep served as a prison for captured enemies, including the cunning troll warlord Zul'jin, and his Amani war party, who had been taken by the Alliance to neutralize their threat. However, Ogrim Doomhammer, the Horde's ruthless war chief, personally led a daring raid to liberate them. With his iconic warhammer in hand, Doomhammer stormed Stronghold, shattering its defenses, and freeing Zul'jin in a bold stroke that reinvigorated the Horde's eastern campaign. The fall of Stronghold sent shockwaves through the Alliance, exposing vulnerabilities and galvanizing their efforts to regroup and retaliate. The Second War's battles in Hillsbrad were emblematic of the broader struggle, a clash of civilization, each side fighting for survival and supremacy. The region's towns and keeps, guarded by fire and blade, became enduring symbols of resilience and sacrifice. For the people of Stormwind, their settlements near Southshore, and their role in these conflicts marked the beginning of their redemption, a chance to reclaim their honor and secure a future within the Alliance, even as the specter of the Horde loomed large over Azeroth's bloodied landscapes. Third War. As the Third War dawned, the Orcish clans of the Eastern Kingdoms found themselves at a crossroads. Under the leadership of Thrall, the young and visionary war chief of the revitalized Horde, a bold new direction emerged. Thrall, guided by both pragmatism and the prophetic visions of the shamanistic traditions he sought to restore, issued a decree to unite the scattered Orcish clans. His goal was nothing less than mass exodus, a departure from the lands that had confined them since their arrival through the Dark Portal, toward the distant and mysterious continent of Kalimdor. This was no mere retreat, it was a strategic gambit to secure a future for his people, free from the endless cycle of conflict with humans and their allies. The assembly of clans was a monumental task, requiring Thrall to rally different groups still reeling from years of war and internment. The Orcs, once a fractured force following their defeat in the Second War, began to coalesce under his banner, their war cries echoing through the forests and hills of Lordaeron. However, their path to freedom was fraught with obstacles, chief among them the Alliance forces still stationed in the region. As the Horde mobilized, skirmishes erupted with human outposts and patrols, particularly in the contested Hillsbrad Foothills. These clashes were swift and brutal, testing the resolve of Thrall's newly forged coalition while drawing the attention of their enemies. A critical moment came with the liberation of Grommash Hellscream and his Warsong clan. Grom, a fierce and unyielding warrior, had been separated from the main Horde forces, his clan pinned down by Alliance troops determined to suppress any resurgence of Orcish power. Thrall, recognizing Grom's value as both a leader and a symbol of Orcish ferocity, led a daring rescue operation. The Warsong clan was freed in a bloody confrontation, their reunion with the Horde galvanizing its ranks. Yet, Grom's fiery temperament would later prove both a boon and a burden, his actions in Kalimdor shaping the Horde's destiny in unforeseen ways. With the clans united and their numbers swelling, Thrall turned his sights to the next phase of his plan, secured passage across the Great Sea. The Horde lacked a fleet of its own, a legacy of their inland internment and the destruction of their naval power during the Second War. Southshore, the bustling coastal town in Hillsbrad, emerged as their key to escape. Its docks harbored a modest but serviceable collection of Alliance ships, vessels that could carry the Horde to Kalimdor if seized. Under the cover of night, Thrall orchestrated a clandestine operation, dispatching a select group of warriors and scouts to infiltrate the town. The mission demanded precision and secrecy, as any alarm could summon Alliance reinforcements from nearby garrison. The infiltration was a masterstroke of stealth and coordination. Orcish raiders slipped past Southshore's defenses, silencing sentries and avoiding the town's sleeping populace. By the time the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, the Horde had commandeered the ships, their crews either dispatched or subdued. The stolen vessels, hastily loaded with orcs, their supplies, and their hopes, set sail from the harbor as the town awoke to the realization of their loss. The Alliance forces in Hillsbrad, caught off guard by the audacity of the theft, could only watch as the Horde's makeshift armada disappeared into the mists of the Great Sea. The Exodus marked a turning point for the orcs, a bold leap into the unknown driven by Thrall's vision of a new beginning. The skirmishes with the Alliance and the liberation of the Warsong clan had hardened their resolve, while the theft of Southshore's ships showcased their resourcefulness. As they sailed westward to Kalimdor, the Horde left behind a continent scarred by their presence, their departure a bittersweet victory in the shadow of the looming Third War, a conflict that would soon engulf both lands they abandoned and ones they sought to claim. World of Warcraft. As the Third War's aftermath reshaped Azeroth, the Hillsbrad Foothills became a volatile crucible of factional strife, with the Forsaken emerging as a formidable new player. These undead, having broken free from the Lich King's grasp under the leadership of Sylvanas Windrunner, allied themselves with the Horde, seeking both the homeland and vengeance against the living who scorned them. Their campaign in Hillsbrad pitted them against the human survivors of Southshore and Hillsbrad Fields, who had rallied under the Alliance banner. The conflict was merciless, transforming the region's once idyllic pastures into a theater of unrelenting warfare. Southshore's docks, a symbol of human resilience, faced repeated assaults from Forsaken Blightcasters, while Hillsbrad's Fields farmsteads burned as the two sides clashed over every inch of contested ground. The humans, bolstered by Alliance reinforcements, fought with desperate tenacity, but the Forsaken's ruthless tactics and the Horde's support steadily eroded their defenses. Amid this chaos, the Syndicate, a criminal organization born from the ashes of Alterax's nobility, carved out its own dominion in the region. Taking advantage of the power vacuum left by the wars, they seized Durnhold Keep, the fortress once central to Alliance operations. Under the leadership of figures like Aladin Perinold, the Syndicate transformed the Keep into a stronghold of banditry and intrigue, its towers now flying banners of opportunism rather than honor. Their presence added a third layer of complexity to Hillsbrad's conflicts, as they preyed on both Alliance and Horde forces, striking from the shadows and sowing discord wherever it served their interest. The turmoil in Hillsbrad wasn't limited to humanoid faction. The Dagger Spy Naga, serpentine marauders from the depths, emerged along the coastlines, their scales glinting menacingly as they raided settlements and ambushed unwary travelers. Inland, the mud-snout tribe of gnolls, feral and cunning, prowled the hills, clashing with anyone who crossed their territory. Meanwhile, the torn-fin murlocs, gurgling and aggressive, swarmed from the region's waterways, their crude weapons a persistent annoyance to both Alliance and Horde scouts. These lesser threats, while not as organized as a Forsaken or Syndicate, compounded the region's instability, forcing both factions to divert resources to fend off these relentless pests. Amidst the bloodshed, Terrence Falrook stood as a prominent figure in Southshore's economic life. A shrewd and wealthy merchant, Falrook held a near monopoly on the region's wine trade, his vineyards and cellars producing vintages that were prized even amidst the chaos of war. His estate, nestled in the northern reaches of Hillsbrad, near the Alterac Mountains, served as both a fortress and a symbol of his influence. Falrook's wealth provided a lifeline for many Southshore residents, offering jobs as vintners, laborers, and guards at a time when livelihoods were scarce. Yet, prosperity masked a darker family legacy that would soon unravel in scandal. The arrival of the Darkmoon Fair near Southshore added yet another twist to the region's tangled narrative. The traveling carnival, with its eerie allure and mysterious performers, set up camp on the outskirts of the town, drawing crowds eager for distraction from the war. But their visit took a grim turn when accusations of murder swirled through the fair's members. Suspicion initially fell on the Carnies, their outsider status making them easy scapegoats. However, the truth proved far more sinister. Cedric Falrook, Terrence's ambitious and volatile son, had murdered his own brother, Eric Falrook, in a fit of jealousy over their father's inheritance. The motive was buried in family secrets, but the act was uncovered with evidence pointing away from the fair and toward the Falrook estate. Outraged by the false accusations and seeking justice, the Darkmoon Fair took matters into their own hands. In a Maccabee act of retribution, they abducted Cedric, dragging him into a nearby graveyard and buried him alive amidst the tombstones, a punishment as theatrical as it was brutal. The incident cast a shadow over Terrence Falrook's legacy, his once respected name now whispered in tones of scandal and tragedy. For the residents of Southshore, it was a grim reminder that even amidst the larger wars tearing Hillsbrad apart, personal vendettas and dark deeds could still shape their fates. Hillsbrad's tapestry of conflict thus wove together the grand struggles of the Forsaken and Alliance with the petty ambitions of the Syndicate, the primal threats of the Naga, Gnolls, and Murlocs, and the drama of the Falrook family. Each thread added to the region's reputation as a land where beauty and bloodshed were forever intertwined. The Burning Crusade. In a remarkable twist of fate, tranquil yet bloodstained region of the Hillsbrad Foothills became the stage for battle not just across space, but across time itself. Adventurers, guided by the enigmatic bronze dragonflight, guardians of Azeroth's temporal integrity, journeyed back to a period known as the Old Hillsbrad Foothills. This was a version of the region frozen in an earlier era, before the Third War's devastations and the rise of the Forsaken, when the land still bore the marks of a simpler, albeit still contentious, existence. Their mission was dire, to thwart the insidious schemes of the Infinite Dragonflight, a rogue faction of dragons bent on unraveling the very fabric of history. Infinite Dragonflight, shrouded in shadow and mystery, sought to sabotage key moments in Azeroth's timeline, believing by altering the past, they could reshape the future to their own enigmatic ends. In Old Hillsbrad, their target was a pivotal event, the imprisonment of Thrall in Durnhold Keep, a moment that shaped his rise as war chief and the Horde's exodus to Kalimdor. By disrupting this juncture, the Infinite Dragons aimed to fracture the timeline, potentially preventing Thrall's leadership and the Horde's survival, or worse, creating a cascade of chaos that would leave Azeroth vulnerable to even greater threats. The stakes were nothing less than the stability of reality itself. Stepping through a temporal portal, the adventurers arrived in a Hillsbrad of the past, its rolling hills and sleepy hamlets untouched by the ravages of later wars. Southshore bustled with fishermen and merchants, docks alive with the creak of wood and the scent of saltwater. Tarren Mill stood as a modest outpost, its windmill turning lazily in the breeze. Durnhold Keep loomed in the east, a stern fortress under the command of Adelis Blackmoor, where a young Thrall languished in captivity, unaware of his destiny. This idyllic scene, however, was a fragile illusion, one the Infinite Dragonflight was poised to shatter. The adventurer's first task was to locate and protect Thrall, ensuring his eventual escape from Durnhold unfolded as history intended. Yet the Infinite Dragons had already begun their interference, dispatching agents cloaked in dark scales and wielding time-warping magic. These saboteurs infiltrated the region, sowing discord and attempting to accelerate Blackmoor's plans to exploit Thrall as a weapon, or eliminate him altogether. The adventurers clashed with these shadowy foes in a series of tense encounters, from ambushes in the forests to pitched battles within the keep's stone halls. Each skirmish tested their resolve, as the Infinite Dragon's powers twisted time itself, conjuring paradoxes and echoes of events yet to come. Beyond combat, the mission demanded subtlety. These adventurers had to blend into the past world, avoiding actions that might ripple outward and disrupt the timeline further. They posed as travelers or mercenaries, gathering intelligence from Southshore's taverns and Tarren Mill's smithies, all while keeping watch for Infinite Dragonflight's next move. Their efforts culminated in a desperate race to ensure Thrall's liberation, guiding him and his fellow captives to freedom as Durnhold burned behind them, an event orchestrated by history, but now safeguarded by their intervention. The Infinite Dragonflight's defeat in Old Hillsbrad was a temporary victory, for their schemes spanned countless eras. Yet, by preserving this critical moment, the adventurers secured a linchpin in Azeroth's timeline, Thrall's rise, the Horde's journey to Kalimdor, and the chain of events that would shape the world's survival through the Third War and beyond. As they returned to their own time, the old Hillsbrad Foothills faded into memory, a snapshot of a land forever caught between peace and peril, its fate now guarded by those who dared to defy the unraveling of history. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Content comes out weekly with lore videos on Sunday, ambiance videos on Monday, and retail or classic paladin content on Thursday.